Hello and welcome to Mouscron for La Ronde de Mouscron 2023, 120 kilometers today, 5 laps of a 24-kilometer circuit, starting in Mouscron, heading out towards and around Dautigny. Thanks for joining us. Martin McDonald and Danny Christmas with you to take you through today's race action. As you can see, it's wet for the riders today.
Compétition bonne à l'entrée dans la dernière droite. Il a des qualités de sprinter.
Let's have a look back at last year's edition and coming into it. Chiara Consoni of Valcar Travel and Service was the defending champion, and Ilaria Sanguinetti on the front was doing a great job to deliver not just one but two fast finishers to the line. They had Eleonora Gasparini and Chiara Consoni there. But watch the rider in the green and white, Talita de Jong, who is riding for a club team, the Jag team, and she got brought through. Nicole Stagenga in the light blue and white colours, always a fast finisher, just very slightly uphill. But Talita de Jong, who was waiting to start her time with Live Racing, came through to take the victory. And she'd taken multiple wins around this time for that smaller team. Martina Alzini of Cofidis rounding out the podium. Eleonora Gasparini, Silvia Zanardi of B-Pink, you can see there, got up there in fifth. Anna Trevisi, Chiara Consoni, Simona Boyler, Danique Bram, and Sandra Alonso was your top 10 a year ago. And there's your top 10. So De Jong from Stagenga and Alzini, Gasparini, Zanardi, Trevisi, Consoni, Boyler, Bram, and Alonso. There's your podium. So Talita de Jong taking it. Very, very different conditions to today's race, though. Let's have a look back at the starts. And Danny, we've got quite a mixed group of riders, mixed teams that we've got in here. Some of the big teams, some of the development teams from the likes of UAE and Team Next Year, along with the World Tour teams such as Jayco Alula. And the course for the riders to tackle today. So we have a big mix of, you can see Jumbo-Visma are here as well. We'll run you through some of your other teams that we are going to see throughout the race today. Let's have a look at the course. And it's 5 laps of 24 kilometers. It's quite sheltered in a lot of areas. We've got a southerly wind for the riders to deal with as well.
Yeah, so we have a lot that goes through various little villages and towns, but we do have some exposed roads on the course. So with that wind that you mentioned, it is playing a bit of havoc with the bunch. So we'll be looking forward to some echelon actions to come.
So expect a couple of little headwind sections and some crosswinds as well for the riders to deal with today. Ronde de Mouscron, 120 kilometers day, 5 laps of 24 kilometers. Mouscron to Mouscron is the circuit. As you can see, it is wet for the riders to deal with. And we have one rider off the front, 19 seconds. Eva van Aert of the Jumbo-Visma team. And you can see the NextG, AG Insurance NextG U23 team are chasing. So 21 seconds and 2 minutes and 7 seconds with just 66.9 kilometers to go. So still plenty of racing ahead, and these are the sort of days where someone like Eva van Aert, we're coming a couple days after Paris-Roubaix, and there are some, there's quite a few riders here that raced Paris-Roubaix at the weekend as well, but these are very good days for an Eva van Aert within a big team like Jumbo-Visma.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for the likes of Eva, she doesn't often get that many opportunities to be an out-and-out leader. As we're just seeing another crash. This road surface is incredibly wet and obviously very slippery, particularly on those white lines there. So we have seen a number of crashes in this bunch so far. But yeah, just going back to Eva van Aert, we've seen that she's been in really good form this year. We saw her being really aggressive in Flandern just a couple of weeks ago. But as you mentioned, you know, obviously being in that team of Jumbo-Visma amongst the superstars like Marianne Vos, she doesn't often get the opportunity to be an outright leader for the day. So it's great to see the young Dutch rider really seizing the opportunity when it comes her way.
So let's run you through your teams that you're going to be seeing today. So we've got Phoenix de Koning. You can see them. Wearing number 1 is Sarah van der Velde. You have Israel Premier Tech. Watch out for the likes of Alice Sharp, Mia Griffin, a couple of Irish riders in there. You have Jumbo-Visma, of course, with our leader, Eva van Aert. Jaco Alula, that we've mentioned. Human Powered Health. That looked like Kaya Schmidt, actually, that looked like she slid off on that corner. They've also got Marit Rijmakers, Nina Bausman, Barbara Malcotti, Daria Pikaluk, who started the season very, very well in Tour Down Under. They've got Lily Williams, Marjolein van Geloof, as well as Kaya Schmidt. So quite a strong team from Human Powered Health in there today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a few of them were racing in Paris-Roubaix just a couple of days ago, so there is some fatigue in the legs, but obviously coming into this race with a really strong squad and looking to do some real damage to this bunch.
Anyone that did Paris-Roubaix, though, on Saturday, it's not just your legs that hurt after Roubaix, is it? Everything, you just rattled to your bones for about 2 weeks after that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, I think we said at the time you got fatigue coming out of your eyeballs in Paris-Roubaix. So yeah, it's a real bone shaker, and one that, you know, it's not just the physical fatigue that the riders will have. You know, it's been such a build up to such a big race that you can often end up coming away from a race like that feeling a little bit mentally drained, mentally fatigued, because you've had so much concentration on the race and the build up to it. So yeah, it's you know, the best tonic for that though is to get back racing your bike and enjoying these wonderful conditions that Belgium is offering us today.
Tennille Campbell of Jaco Alula, national champion of Trinidad and Tobago, another rider that finished Paris-Roubaix on Saturday. And this is a good day. This is, again, another opportunity. Tennille Campbell coming back from a real bad injury, crashed in her last race of last season, did Tennille Campbell. Teeth surgery and knee surgery as well, had a massive gash in her knee. So it's only like her 3rd race back for Tennille Campbell. And she's, if this comes down to a sprint, we haven't really kind of seen her since she turned pro, when she was with the World Cycling Centre team. She was a real fast finisher. We kind of brought her into the World Tour peloton as a bit of a sprinter, but she's sort of kind of evolving into the kind of quite a sort of classics rider as well. She just kind of, for me, needs a few opportunities just to refresh her memory in the sprints. Almost. Yeah,
I think, you know, she's been taking on, you know, a very loyal teammate role within many of the races as well. So yeah, it would be really good to see her trying to take an opportunity for herself, but obviously getting stuck into today's race. The gap going up to 20 seconds to our lone leader of Eva van Aert with 63 kilometres to go.
Amelie Deirdrickson in the centre of your picture in the red and yellow of Team Uno X. And into that, a new signing into that team. And Amelie, over the last few years, at Trek Segafredo was becoming really a lead-out rider. And when she was world champion, both as a junior and as an elite, she was a very, very fast finisher. She's an incredible track rider as well. And then in the last classics, we've started to see her kind of waking up again. And she said it herself in interviews, being back at the pointy end of the bike race.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see her up in that lead group in De Panne just a few weeks ago, and being at the front of the bike race again. And of course we know her as the former world champion from the Qatar World Championships back in 2016, so she obviously brings a huge amount of experience to the Uno X team, and it's just good to see her back at the pointy end of the bike races again.
It almost, for me, I don't know if you'd agree, but it seems to me that the arrival of Eleanor Barker coming back Eleanor Barker and the arrival of Amelie seems to really have been that sort of settling process, or that settling influence is probably the word I'm looking for in terms of Uno X.
Yeah, I mean, they've made some really good signings this year, looking at Anuska Costa, who unfortunately we haven't been able to see racing too much this year due to a crash that she had. I think it was in Drenthe where she broke her hand in that massive pile-up. But also Maria Giulia Confaneri, the whole squad has really been reinforced this year. And I think, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for a squad to really kind of find each other and gel together as a unit. But I think, we're only going to see Uno X going from strength to strength.
Let's run you through your other teams. So you got a quick interview with Amelie.
6 at the Pan. How do you feel today?
I feel okay. I did Roubaix 2 days ago, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, today I'm here to help the team as best as I can, so hopefully we can get a good result.
Have you recovered from Roubaix?
I guess time will tell, huh? I think a lot of riders probably will feel it in the legs, but that's cycling. We're ready for a new day, and yeah, I hope the team can make a good result today.
Yeah, the team hasn't won for this season yet, so it's a good opportunity today.
Yeah, I think we have a really good chance. We have a fast rider in Anina Adosalo as well, so we'll try to put it in a good position and see how it goes.
The weather is not good, you have to take care.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for everybody, so it's about to stay warm and safe and then hopefully have a good finish.
Amelie Deirdrickson. Sorry, we crashed over the top of Amelie there. We didn't get any warning from our host broadcaster that the interviews are coming. The chasing group, 24 seconds back to this group. So a decent sized group that we have. Eva van Aert at the head of the race for Team Jumbo-Visma, wearing number 21 today. 26 years old is Eva van Aert. And 61.6 kilometers to go. It's a long day. It's a long way out with over 60 kilometers to go. You are kind of in this position when you're out there. You're just hoping, praying someone might come up to you when you got 60 odd kilometers to go.
Yeah, because that time gap hasn't really changed all that much. It's just been hovering around the 20-second mark for a number of kilometers now. So yeah, the bunch is certainly keeping her in check, obviously knowing what a strong rider Eva van Aert is, but, it's definitely a bridgeable distance as well. And we did see almost the glimmers of some action on the front of the bunch just as our cameras left the front of the peloton. So I wonder if some riders are attempting to bridge across to our lone leader of Eva van Aert.
19 seconds. The hand roundabout. It's an interesting sculpture in the middle of the roundabout. I do love a roundabout sculpture and some art on a roundabout. You've always got to make the most of them. Back to our chasing group. 18 seconds is the gap. You can see plenty of Uno X jerseys in there. Nina Bausman for Human Powered Health is also up and in that group, so you can see it's a tough day out for the riders today here in the Ronde de Mouscron, given the conditions. If you're with us on the TV though, you are off for a short break. We have just over 60k to go. Come back soon. So you can see that group just getting stretched out from that aerial shot. I caught a glimpse of Flora Perkins in there as well. We always get very excited about Flora Perkins. She's a really exciting young British rider.
Yeah, riding with the Phoenix de Koning development team, and having another opportunity to step up into the World Tour team for today's race. She's had a number of races with the World Tour squad this year and has really impressed us as we've been commentating on these races. She really likes to ride aggressively, and such a strong performance that she had back in Dwars-door-Vlaanderen just a week or so ago. So really good, and obviously we're very excited to see the future of Flora Perkins.
Great opportunity for Flora Perkins. So you can see the size of our group here. So Flora Perkins out of the saddle on the front, and Phoenix de Koning have a really good finisher as well, who made the podium on the first edition behind Chiara Consoni in Maria Martins.
Yeah, that's right. Miriam Martins, the former Portuguese national champion. We saw her riding in Paris-Roubaix and was unfortunate to be involved in that big pile-up that we saw of the favourites group on the cobblestones of Paris-Roubaix. So it's kind of a case of how she's feeling after taking such a hit, because that was a really nasty crash which saw her teammate Sana Kant having a really serious injury to her face. So obviously we're wishing Sana Kant all the best from that. But yeah, it was a pretty nasty crash for anyone that did watch Paris-Roubaix, crashing on the cobbles there with the group of favourites. But yeah, as you mentioned, Miriam Martins, she's definitely one to be watching out for, wearing number 5 today for the Phoenix de Koning team.
Yeah, it was as you said, it was a big crash. We really wish Sana Kant well. We've of course followed her for so many years as well in cyclocross on GCN over the years. So it was a very tough crash indeed. Your leader, Eva van Aert, Eva's quite an interesting rider as well, isn't she? Because when you look at her background, she comes from field hockey, and I've always said I've got loads of friends that are hockey players, and it may not sometimes be a sort of a crossover sport that you would immediately sort of put 2 and 2 together, but she was quite a high-level hockey player before she came into cycling.
Yeah, she was. She had a scholarship at Princeton University, I believe it was, over in the States, and yeah, as you say, played field hockey to a very high level, and was one of the riders that really discovered cycling during the COVID pandemic. So hockey's loss is cycling's gain.
Welcome back. If you're rejoining us on the TV, we are just talking about the crossover while you were away between the sport of our lone leader, former sport of our lone leader, Eva van Aert, in field hockey. And she really has come into cycling. She was with what is now the Life Plus Wahoo team when she first turned pro, and then moving over to that Jumbo-Visma team. I think that's something that Jumbo-Visma do really, really well in terms of embracing the other sports. You know, they've got a speed skating team, they've got rowers that have come in as well with likes of Amber Crack, and it is a good the way they sort of embrace those crossover sports.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there are a lot of transferable skills from one sport to another, but also just, you know, everything else that goes into being a top quality athlete. Of course, there's the physiological side that's quite obvious, you know, if you've got a good capacity in terms of your lungs and the aerobic capacity that you need to be a really good cyclist, but also looking at the other side of it, you know, all of the knowledge that you gain from competing at the very highest level in other sports. It's something that, you know, I used to compete internationally as a track and field athlete, and I was able to take forward a lot of the lessons that I learned in terms of travelling, nutrition, psychology, all of those little aspects into trying to make myself into the best possible cyclist as well. So there are a lot of lessons that you can take forwards, and it's really interesting to hear from the teammates of Eva van Aert in the Jumbo-Visma squad when they talk about, you know, listening to the stories of Amber Crack as a former elite rower, and Caroline Achterreiter as well in the speed skating as well. There's a lot of lessons that you can learn from other sports.
A gap now up to 32 seconds. We've got a fairly sizable chasing group behind including...
Alors Julia, comment est-ce qu'on se sent au départ avec cette pluie?
Bah oui, on s'y attendait. On avait déjà regardé la météo ici la semaine et on savait bien qu'il allait faire mauvais. J'ai fait une bonne reco du parcours hier et j'ai déjà fait quelques courses aussi sous la pluie cette année. Donc voilà, ce sont les mêmes conditions pour tout le monde, donc on verra.
La ronde de Mouscron, c'est une course importante pour vous. Il y a des équipes ici World Tour, donc c'est l'occasion d'engranger de l'expérience.
Oui, il y a des grosses équipes, un bon niveau. Mais je pense qu'on a aussi une bonne équipe, une jeune équipe. Mais on est motivé à faire une course à l'avant, à l'attaque et on espère pouvoir décrocher un bon résultat, pourquoi pas, oui.
Il vaut mieux partir en échappée aujourd'hui?
Oui, je pense qu'on va essayer d'être le mieux placé possible, le plus devant pour éviter les chutes aussi et toujours être bien attentif devant pour suivre les grosses équipes. Donc oui, je pense que la course va vite se décanter au vu du circuit et de la météo. Donc on va faire tout pour être à l'avant, oui.
AG Insurance Next G really motivated for today. You can see Anina Atusalo for Team Uno X there in that white jersey with the blue cross on the jersey. So just moving up, Amelie Deirdrickson. Amelie Deirdrickson was talking her up earlier on in her interview. A really fast finisher on the Piccolo Alfredo Binder in the past. If you're with us on the TV, you're off for a short break. Make sure you come back. So the aerial shot. This gap of Eva van Aert just being controlled at 31 seconds with 55 kilometers to go. You just sense that this group, and because of the peloton has split into sort of fairly big groups now, they really don't want to give Eva van Aert just too much of an advantage here.
No, that's right, and you can see that this is a sizable group, but some very capable riders just putting the pace on at the moment, as we're seeing that the pressure on the front of the bunch is causing an issue for some of the riders behind. But you can see just how exposed these roads are, and they're relatively narrow as well. So when the wind is blowing, positioning is so important at the front. So the wind at the moment coming from the rider's left hand side, and as this road progresses forwards, it does become a little bit more narrow as well. So again, there is that fight for positioning towards the front.
Jade Lindhout just getting tailed off the back. Tenia Campbell on the front. Good to see the national champion of Trinidad and Tobago back in here. Really getting a great following around the world is Tenille. Human Powered Health, multiple riders and multiple options in this group. You can see just how wet and windy it is for the riders today, the conditions that you're having to deal with. There's Jade Lindhout just off the back. It's agonizing at the moment for Lindhout.
Oh, it is, and this is absolutely grim conditions for the riders, isn't it?
Working well on the front of the group. You can see it's multiple teams at the moment. Everyone's really motivated still on the front of that group. It's working really, really well, hence why Ava's gap is just still sitting at 24 seconds.
Yeah, and they're just kind of plugging that gap at 25 seconds now, aren't they? So just kind of leaving the Dutch rider hanging out just within striking distance. But for Eva van Aert, she just needs to keep this effort going, knowing that her teammates behind will have a bit more of a free ride. We did see earlier on that her teammate Naomi Ruch took a really nasty crash as she nearly lost the bars there.
So you can see, for the most part, we've got a lot of shelter from sort of high banks. There's a lot of warehouses, a lot of houses. There's sort of fairly limited parts of the course. That section where it just opened up there is just one small section where it does kind of open up. It's the anticipation of trying to split it in that crossing, because we come into a lot of areas like this where you've got, you look on one side, you've got some fields, but then you've got a lot of houses along one side. work being done. Uno X controlling this one. And for a day like this is a perfect race here, Ronde de Mouscron, for Anina Atosalo to get those. These is given the sprinters that we've got in this race, this is a great opportunity for the team to again remind her how to be a leader. You've got Amelie Deirdricks in there who will teach you how to be the sprinter, it's quite an art, isn't it, to not use any energy.
It is, and for the Finnish road race champion, we've seen her in some of the previous races this year really starting that sprint from a long way out. So it's she's obviously got that kind of long drag that she can do in terms of the sprint, but it's a very different scenario when you are being led out, so if you have teammates that are going to bring you into the finish, it's that case of just being patient, as opposed to when we've seen her on lead out duties that she's just started her sprint so early, but she's obviously so strong that she can do that.
Danique Bram just heading back to the car for Duolar Chevalmier. She could be a good bet if this comes down to a sprint. Danique Bram, she does like quite a gnarly race as well, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. She's a really strong rider for the Duolar Chevalmier team. We saw her leading out teammate in Schelde Price just last week, and it was really good to see Danique back at the front of the bike race after she has had a period of sickness. So really good to see that she's on good form, and just speaking to her yesterday, she was really looking forward to this race. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Danique Bram can do in today's race.
So Danique Bram back at the team car. It's a big week of cycling ahead of us. Next Sunday, the Amstel Gold. What a race we had. What two races we had last year. Both the women's and men's races live for you. Marta Cavalli and Mikhail Kwiatkowski last year. Who will it be in the Amstel Gold Race next Sunday? Make sure you join us for that. Back to our lone leader, Eva van Aert of Team Jumbo-Visma. Holding 25 seconds over that chasing group. And not really increasing that advantage since she went clear. Just kind of got that gap and is just holding it steadily now. Yeah, and the team of Uno X doing a really good job of just holding that gap, not letting Eva van Aert get too far up the road. So we've only really seen a gap of around 25-26 seconds so far. So good job by the Uno X squad. So this group, 30 riders, would you say left that we've got left now? 35 riders maybe? Oh, I was always rubbish at estimating how many riders were in a group, so don't ask me that, Marty, but yeah, we'll go with that, around 30.
Donc 5e de Paris-Roubaix, j'imagine c'est une expérience incroyable.
Ouais, c'était une journée de fou du début à la fin, entre l'échappée à 18 qui sort, qui prend du temps, on n'aurait jamais pensé. Derrière, j'étais très à l'aise dans les pavés, mais je crève à Mont-Saint-Pével, du coup il a fallu rentrer sur la tête. Après, les ententes étaient compliquées, il y avait des filles qui ne sont pas passées devant de la course. Moi, j'ai eu besoin de temps pour récupérer aussi au moment de rentrer. Derrière, le groupe des favorites qui est revenu à 2 pas de nous, on a vraiment cru que c'était fini. Et en fait, ouais, c'était un peu impensable et c'était vraiment une belle surprise.
Alors, beaucoup d'efforts. Du coup, est-ce que vous avez récupéré pour aujourd'hui ?
J'espère. Ça va être un peu la surprise. On a roulé hier, heureusement, parce qu'on avait vraiment toutes les jambes un peu dures. Moi, au niveau des mains, j'ai de la chance. J'ai pas de cloque, pas d'ampoule, rien du tout. Donc, ça va à peu près. Mais il y a des filles qui sont un peu plus dans le dur avec ça. Donc, je pense qu'on va être beaucoup dans le même état. Et ça va être un peu la course de survie avec la pluie en plus qui s'invite. Mais on va faire ce qu'on peut.
Marion Boras, 5th in Paris-Roubaix at the weekend. Great track rider is Marion Boras. career-defining moment for the Saint Michel rider.
Oh, absolutely. Being in the break all day at Paris-Roubaix and leading out off the final turn in the velodrome, it was looking really good for a podium finish. But yeah, as you said, just missed out on the podium there, finishing in 5th place. But what a phenomenal performance!
It was indeed, and I think it was a Paris-Roubaix that defines Paris-Roubaix and why we love it so much, because the gap came down to 10 seconds. That chasing group assumed they'd got them back, and then Alison Jackson, they just drove it. And I think that is the specialty of Paris-Roubaix and what makes it so exciting. And it did look like at points that Marion Boras might actually take the win.
Yeah, it was a absolutely phenomenal edition of Paris-Roubaix. I'm still knackered just thinking about it. But yeah, it was absolutely action-packed from start to finish. So yeah, a real classic edition of Paris-Roubaix, fam.
Georgie Howe on the attack. And Georgie Howe just loves... She's one of those riders, Georgie Howe, another crossover athlete, and rowing... came into cycling from rowing, came over to Belgium, tried to get a contract with a team, couldn't get one, went into her first Belgian Commerce race, finished 2nd, got a team to ride for, and is now in the World Tour. It's another great story.
Yeah, it was a fantastic season from Georgie Howe last year. She was riding for the Kirkham-Redon.
Une première question, Alana, pas au départ. Est-ce que tout va bien?
Oui, tout va bien. Elle est certainement un peu déçue de sa
Victoria,
performance sur Roubaix, mais bon voilà, elle a des problèmes de vente, donc on a préféré s'abstenir aujourd'hui. Donc on espère qu'elle va bien récupérer, et puis on la retrouve d'ici le mois de mai.
Du coup, est-ce que ça a changé un peu la stratégie d'équipe, votre rôle peut-être?
C'est sûr, hein, on part à 5 parce qu'on a perdu aussi Martina Alzini suite à sa chute sur le Tour des Flandres. Donc du coup, oui, c'est compliqué. On part avec 2 filles en moins, mais non, la stratégie a pas changé. Juste la météo qui est un peu qui bloque un peu nos plans, mais bon, on fera avec.
Ouais, on annonce beaucoup de vent du côté de Dottini, mais on sait que vous aimez bien être dans les bons coups. Hein.
J'aime bien être dans les bons coups. Après, j'aime pas trop frotter, donc ça sera à moi de me sortir un peu de ma zone de confort. Mais c'est sûr, ça va être une course animée. Il y a un bon petit niveau, donc on va se faire plaisir aujourd'hui.
Victoire Berthaud. Cofidis, always on the attack. Victoire Berthaud. I just feel that win, and then that first real big World Tour win isn't far away now from Victoire, because again, she's another phenomenal track rider.
She is, and as you said, she's always on the attack. We love watching Victoire Berthaud because she always likes to light up the race. We saw her on the attack in Tours de Flandre a couple of weeks ago, and she did have a really good ride in Paris-Roubaix. Unfortunately, didn't get the result that she was wanting, finishing down in 29th place, but was a top 20 in the race last year, and as you say, a really accomplished track rider as well, riding in the team pursuit for the French team just a couple of weeks ago in Cairo, finishing in 1st place with the French squad there. So yeah, really decent track rider as well as showing her form on the road.
Coming in towards the finish, this gives you a look at the run up towards the finish line. You can see the conditions that the riders are tackling today, and it's just you can see it just rises up towards the line. It's given the bricks as well, it's quite a slick finish here as Eva van Aert goes through with 2 laps to go this time.
Yeah, as you said, it is a little bit of a drag, and it keeps dragging up for around 400 metres after the finish line as well. So around 1 kilometre's drag in total, which lap after lap, it certainly starts to nick the legs.
Lily Williams on the front for Human Powered Health. The Jaco Alula rider. She's dropped down towards the back of the group. Nina Bausman's 2nd wheel for the Human Powered Health team. As Tamara Dronova, you can see there in the blue, white and pink colours of Israel Premier Tech Roland. So a rider that, again, had a phenomenal year last year. She hasn't quite hit the form of last year yet, Tamara Dronova.
No, we were discussing that earlier on, weren't we? Because she had some really great results last year, and we were really excited to see what she could do this year. But I think probably 6th in Almeria is probably her best result so far. So looking forward to seeing what she can do later on in the season.
We've also, I'll just run you through your other teams, so just remember we didn't go through them all. So UAE have got their development team here: Torelli, Ceratizit, San Michel, Mavic, Proximus, Alpha Motorhomes, Coupe, Cofidis, Joa, Chev Almier. If you're with us on the TV, you're off for a short break. Come back. We have our team Max Sola Rose. If you're with us for Thuringen each year, that you'll see them in action. Katrina Fox is in this group. I think I caught a glimpse of her early on. Lotto Destiny, you can see there in their red and blue colours. Stade Rochelet, Sharon Maritime. They've got their yellow jerseys with the black shoulders. I'm just looking to see if I can pick out anyone who's made this group from Stade Rochelet. AWOL O'Shea are the British team. They're in a cream orange and sort of pinky purple jersey. Charlotte Broughton, I did catch a glimpse of in one of the groups. We'll see if they have made it in there. AG Insurance next year, you've seen GT Crush, Rebelese. They've got one rider. Is it Henrietta Colburn that's still in there from GT Crush? We'll pick out one of the. We've got one of the GT Crush riders, the Rebelese riders, that's up towards the front. We've then got Team Grandes Cubigi La Fabrique, Sinishka, Arkea are in their familiar red colours, Balwaza, and then the Isarex No Aqua team, DD Group Isarex No Aqua team are also in the race as well. That is the full rundown of the teams. So it's good for the likes of Balwaza, Isarex, Grand Est, and those sort of teams to get a run out against the World Tour teams as well.
It is, and it's a really nice mix of teams because, for some of, even for the World Tour teams, you have riders in there that don't often get to go for, the race win for themselves. So it's really nice for them to get the opportunity in this race. But then also, as you mentioned, for some of the smaller continental teams and club level teams to be able to get the opportunity to race against, the World Tour teams and some of the really big names in the sport. It's what the development of the sport is all about, giving these riders the opportunities to show what they can do on, such grim days as today. If you can get a good result on a day like today, then you're obviously a very hardy rider. So, it's always good place to spot new talent as well in these kind of 1.1, 1.2 races.
Kaya Schmidt on the front from the Human Powered Health team. This is our next group on the road. Hannah Barnes is in this group. Just pick out some of our other riders as they head up 200 metres up towards the line. So that's basically a split in the peloton if you look at the size of that group.
Yeah, it is, and unfortunately we didn't get pictures from the beginning of this race, but we know that the wind has been blowing a little bit, so it could have been the wind that split the race, or even a crash or something like that. But yeah, this is quite a sizable group.
Welcome back. If you're rejoining us on the TV, your lone leader is still Eva van Aert from the Netherlands, from Team Jumbo-Visma. 45.1 kilometers to go. So 2 laps now of our big circuit here in the Ronde de Mouscron. 5 laps of 24 kilometers, giving us 120 kilometers distance today. Martin McDonald and Danny Christmas with you to take you through today's race action. This is the 3rd edition of the Ronde de Mouscron, with Chiara Consoni taking it in 2021 and Talita de Jong taking it last year. You can see Uno X and Human Powered Health are both teams really motivated to keep this race under control. Ceratizit WNT, they've got both Arianna and Martina Fidanza in this race today.
They have, so it's a real family affair in the Ceratizit WNT squad today. Both of them are fast finishers, so it'll be interesting to see which of the Fidanza sisters they will be backing for today.
It seems like, sort of, given the sort of start of the season, that Martina seems to be going. She's had a lot. She's another rider that crosses over onto the track, and she seems like she's the rider for the out of the two of them this year who sort of seems to have that edge at the moment.
Yeah, I think for Ariana, she started the season really well, winning on her debut with the team back in Spain in Almeria. So, you know, a dream start for Ariana Fidanza in the colours of Ceratizit WNT. But yeah, as you mentioned, Martina Fidanza seems to be on some really good form of late. She finished in 5th place in Scheldeprijs just last week. So yeah, it's really cool to be able to see the two sisters riding together in the team, you know, leading one another out as well. So yeah, it's really nice to see, and obviously very happy that they're racing together. You know, they're a very close-knit family, so you know, it's really good to see the two sisters riding together.
Their dad's the coach of Isomont, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He's the director sportif in that team as well. So yeah, it's a real family affair for the Fidanzas.
Another cycling dynasty family, you could call them, the Fidanzas. But Uno X and Human Powered Health working hard on the front here. 30 seconds for Eva van Aert. As you can see, it's just down into time trial mode here as she tries to hold off this group behind. And doing a great job is the Dutch rider from Human Power, from Jumbo-Visma. Not long now, and we hit one of our favourite races of the year, La Flèche Wallonne. La Flèche Wallonne, the 19th of April. Men's and women's races live for you. And it's absolutely brutal finish. You do not want to miss it. So, unfortunately, a tumble for a Human Powered Health rider who's gone down, and it's Daria Pikalik, unfortunately, that's gone down here for the Human Powered Health team, wearing number 44. And Daria, fast finisher, is Daria Pikalik. And has gone down, unfortunately. Quite heavy. It's so slick through towns and villages like this, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes you just get a little bit of diesel that's on the road, but just in these wet conditions, the road is really quite slippery, and you can see that she is getting a full medical assessment now from the race doctor, so there will be concussion protocols that are followed, but I don't think we'll be seeing Pikalik continuing in this race today, and is her team that's on the front at the moment, along with the team of Uno X, really trying to drive this pace on now.
They are indeed. So Marit Rijmakers swings off the front. J.K. Lula come through the centre. Victor Berto, Team Cofidis, looking to try and do something in this race.
So the riders will be taking a left-hand turn very shortly, and we do turn on to those smaller, more exposed roads as well. So just a bit of a fight for position as we turn from the big road into a smaller road here.
Having just a glance back just to see how everyone is looking behind. That gives you a good on that corner, gives you a good idea as we go through the trees here. It's quite a long run with trees on both sides, this section.
Yeah, that's right, but it is, you know, it is still somewhat exposed. On this particular part of the road, the riders have a slight tailwind, but the road bends round to the right and we start to get a little bit of crosswind. So we have seen at the moment that the wind is at around 20-21 kilometers an hour, so it's not like uber strong, but it is certainly strong enough that, you know, if you're caught out of position, then it's going to make your life very difficult indeed.
So that gap just yo-yoing around that 25 to 30 seconds. It's really been not an awful lot more than that since we came on air. Unfortunately, we're just getting a replay of the crash there of Daria Piklik. Looked like she just slid out. So just sliding out. It just happens, doesn't it, as well? As we said, sometimes through the towns, through the villages, you can get diesel from all sorts of different vehicles. That makes it very, very slick sometimes. And you could just slide out for no particular reason.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, as we saw that there was a bit of road furniture there that was marked by a official on the side of the road, and sometimes riders just switch line a little bit, and if that causes you to brake unnecessarily, it can end in you hitting the deck.
Welcome along. If you're just joining us today, we are in the Ronde de Mouscron, which is in Belgium. It's a wet day for the riders to tackle here on the Monday. Eva van Aert just stretching out her back. This is the third edition of this race, and the Jumbo-Visma rider has been clear since just before we came on air. So a great attack by the Jumbo-Visma rider. And looking at this course and looking at the circuit as well, and given the conditions and, you know, historically sitting at 25-30 seconds off the front of that group, if you can just sit there and time trial and hold it. We saw it in Paris-Roubaix the other day, didn't we? They sat there, came back to 10 seconds, went back out again. I mean, she's doing a great job in defending against multiple teams here at the moment.
Yeah, she is, but I'm just kind of watching her body language for the last few kilometres, and, you know, she's been stretching around, you know, kind of backing off the power every now and again. So I think the peloton are kind of toying with her a little bit at the moment, which when you're out front and you know that that's happening to you, it's not the nicest feeling. But yeah, this gap has just been hovering around sort of between 20 and 30 seconds for a good number of kilometres now. So I think they have got her in check at the moment. But as you say, you know, we saw it in Paris-Roubaix that if the gap is miscalculated by the bunch...
Émilie, comment est-ce qu'on se sent aujourd'hui?
Can often be a good
Je suis contente d'être ici, je suis contente de courir. Ça fait longtemps qu'on n'a pas couru, donc c'est sûr que on est heureux d'être ici.
C'est une course qui peut vous
It's a
convenir?
long time since I've raced.
Écoutez, par définition, sur papier, j'aime mieux quand ça monte un peu plus, mais je pense que quand on est un bon coureur, on doit être capable d'être performant partout. Donc, chaque course est importante.
Alors, vous êtes canadienne. Est-ce qu'éventuellement la
race is
victoire d'Alison
important. I will
Jackson
try
à
to do my
Roubaix
best.
peut vous donner des ailes aujourd'hui?
Ah, ça serait génial, vraiment. En tout cas, ça m'a rendue joyeuse. Quand j'ai vu qu'elle avait gagné, c'était fou. J'ai regardé la vidéo plusieurs fois. C'est vraiment assez chouette. C'est une belle personnalité. En plus, Alison, elle a une super personnalité. Donc, ça montre que bon, on peut être heureux, avoir du plaisir et aussi faire des super résultats.
So we're getting lots of insights from riders throughout the coverage. And in this, for you've been in this position on the front of the peloton, and for anyone watching, you know, the chase and the way it's controlled, you know, sitting on the front of the peloton, and as you said, they're just kind of toying with her at the moment. And when you're in that position on the front of the bunch, you know, you were a kind of road captain a lot. Is it something you just sit, watch your power, watch your speed, look up and see where they are in terms of just trying to keep it quick enough so that no one attacks?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously we're seeing a differing terrain on this race. So we have a number of these smaller twisty roads where you cannot see the riders in front, even if they're only 30 seconds up the road. They are very much out of sight. But then we get onto those bigger roads where you do get a clear view, and it's also being able to get the time gaps from the motorbikes, but also the sports director in the car behind as well, which will give you a lot of advice as to how the chase is going, but also communicating with other teams as well. So it does seem that it is just the teams of Human Powered Health and Uno X who are really trying to control this gap here. So just putting a couple of riders each up towards the front to keep this pace nice and steady, and we are seeing that gap is just holding at around 25-26 seconds at the moment.
A lot of communication going on as well for them, and they've just, and for Human Powered Health, they've just lost perhaps their finisher for today.
Yeah, they just lost Pikulik, who we saw hitting the deck, but they have got some other fast finishers in the group, particularly looking to the likes of Maro Van Gogh. She will be a really strong finish and very motivated after her ride in Paris-Roubaix.
She will indeed. If you're with us on the TV, you're off for a short break. They're going to come round next time and get the bell. There's an awful lot of chat going on amongst the human-powered health team. Nina Bausman in the middle, just having a word with the team about Elterman in the yellow of Jumbo-Visma. And wearing Eline van Rooyen. So 186 in the blue and white colours towards the back. Doing the right thing. Been a little bit of a sprinter ninja at the back. Elina van Rooyen got the under-23 AG Next G setup, got their first win with Eline the other day.
Yeah, really good to see them getting that first win, and as you say, she's still in this front group as well, so looking to get another good result in today's race.
We'll see. So for quite a few teams, so we've got teams here as well. We've got the UAE development team, the AG Insurance Next Year U23 team, because they are a program. They've got a junior team, under 23 team, and their elite team as well. So it's been quite good last few races. Last couple of races, sort of the Schelde Prize as well, where we're getting to see the under 23 setup.
Yeah, it's really good, and as you say, it's almost that real pathway that the riders can take from junior right through to the elite category. So yeah, it's quite unique for women's cycling to have such a pathway. So I think we'll see the fruits of that labour kind of in the next few years as riders really start to step up through the programme. But just seeing that, the hand roundabout, as as you called it, that it is looking pretty slick on the road through there. So just hoping that all the riders make it through this section of the course.
As you said, we keep seeing Eva van Aert just sort of sitting up and stretching out her back as well. And in this position, and when it's cold and it's wet, is it again, when you're out there for a long time, you're just trying to hold that as aero as possible. It just starts to get into your lower back.
Yeah, it's something that needs to really be trained. You know, it's not just, you can't expect to go out into a race and just hold a really aerodynamic position. This is Danique Bram taking a bike change here. We mentioned Danique earlier on today that she is coming into some good form, so she'll be looking to get back into the bunch as quickly as possible, trying to use the team cars as much as she can to get a bit of a draft to come back into the peloton.
So 27 years old, Danique Bram. She's had quite a busy season so far. They do get a decent programme, the Duo La Chevaumière team.
Yeah, you know, being a Belgian squad, they get to do a lot of the Belgian racing, and of course at this time of year there is an awful lot of racing in Belgium at this time.
You can just see Lotto Destiny starting to move up. Saint-Michel Aubert. Welcome back. If you're rejoining us on the TV, it is a wet, windy day in Belgium for the Ronde de Mouscron, the third edition of this race. Your lone leader is Eva van Aert of Team Jumbo-Visma, who's still holding 37 seconds over a considerable sized group who are just holding that gap. But she's now just starting to nudge it out just a few more seconds. You would feel as a lone leader, you can start to hit that sort of 45 seconds, push it out towards a minute if she could get through the line in that solo position. You know, what's that mindset? Is it, okay, I'm going to hold this, then I'm going to gas it again to see if I can open it out, or are you just trying to keep that power as steady as possible?
I think it really depends on the rider, what that condition is, and what the plan is behind. So we've seen that unfortunately Jumbo-Visma have lost a couple of riders to crashes so far, so I think they only have one other rider that's left in the bunch behind, so they are somewhat reduced resources in the group behind. So for Eva van Aert, we did see, as we said, that she was the body language of Eva van Aert looked a little bit almost defeated for a while, but now that we've seen that time gap go back up. She's back into that aerodynamic position and really starting to put the power down again. So as soon as you can get that gap going back up, then it gives you that little bit more motivation. And she's back into full flight now.
So we're heading in toward, we got 10k of this circuit to go before we get back in towards the finish.
Yeah, so we will cross the finish line with a lap to go, with around 24 kilometres to go. So as you say, just around 10 kilometres left of this circuit before the riders will hear the bell for the final lap.
So 41 seconds now for Eva van Aert. So she's starting to get across one of the sort of more exposed sections of the course. You can see here Team Uno X very much to the front. So they've got all of the riders. Amelie Deirdrickson, if you weren't with us early on, their protected rider, they were saying, is Anina Atosalo, who's in that national champions jersey of Finland, who's got a fast finish on her. So Uno X all lined out on the front. And Amelie is wearing number 53. The helicopter's just going to pan up and just show the distance between the groups.
This is quite a nice camera shot here as well, that you can see that this part of the road does actually drag up a little bit. It's not too steep, but it is around 2 kilometres where it is dragging up. So lap after lap it really starts to nip the legs, and if any riders behind really want to use this to their advantage, then we could see some riders going on the attack on these harder sections, because we have still got a relatively large bunch behind.
It's what these sort of rises on this part of the course. These could be on the final lap. Could be a good little springboard actually to try and launch something.
Yeah, this is, as we say, you know, on these kind of draggy sections, that it's obviously a lot harder when you are riding in the bunch. So if someone really puts the power down, you've really got to go for it behind as well to match them. So yeah, as you say, it could provide the potential launch pad, and because the road isn't particularly wide either, so you know, if you get a team as we see at the moment where Uno X are just pretty much covering the whole of the roads there, that if a teammate goes up the road and you can effectively block behind, that we are now seeing riders using this part of the road to their advantage. And it is Simone Boillard that's going on the attack. We've seen her riding really aggressively in the last few weeks.
Simone Boillard from Canada. This is her sort of course, her sort of race as well. Simone Boillard from Saint-Michel, Mavic Aubert 93. And they've got to be as well, they've got to be really motivated after Marion Borras's ride in Paris-Roubaix, that team. It was such a reinforcement of the development and the growth of that team, I think.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to see the growth of the team over the last few seasons. That, you know, they've such an old established team, but you know, obviously for all of the French women's teams at the moment, having the arrival of the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift is a big motivator. But you can see now that the pressure is really on from the team of Uno X on the front, really trying to split it in this crosswind section. Just look at the damage that they're doing here.
They are indeed. They knew that this was coming, and this is one of the most exposed sections of the course. And look at the damage that is being done now. The peloton's starting to splinter under the pressure. You can see that the rain is kind of coming down sideways to the riders at the moment with the wind.
It's awful, isn't it? But the wind coming from the riders' left-hand side, you can see Uno X. They're just riding in a slight echelon formation, that they're really not leaving much gap on the road there. So just using almost less than half of the road, just allowing their teammates in.
So Uno X have managed to split that group in two after that attack of Simone Boillard. You can see, and now it splits again, another split, and it just means if one rider leaves that wheel, it splits the group again. And that was the big turn done there by Julie Leth. And Victoire Berthaud, 121 from Cofidis in the red and white. You can see they're trying to power across this gap is Victoire Berthaud. Back to the front, Tennille Campbell's made it up here. Simone Boillard Anina Atusalo is there for Finland. Matt Alterman is in there. Fidanza is in there as well. So the rider there wearing 54, that's Julie Leth there, wearing number 54. And also in there, Valentin Fortown for Cofidis. Has also made it in there. Maria Martins has made this sort of front part of the group. So it looks like as well, Katrin Schweinberger is in there. So you've got the Uno X colours on the front. That's Wilma Olausson from Sweden. It's there. And it's Ninka Verhoeven, actually, that's in there for Jumbo-Visma. So Verhoeven wearing 23. Veenhoven, my apology. For that group, well and truly split. 21 seconds is the gap to our lone leader. And you can see the motorbikes just looking back to see that they're not far away from getting some company at the front.
You can see that it was just that one effort on the front there, trying to drill it in the crosswind, that's really brought this gap to Eva van Aert down. It was at around 40 seconds and she's lost a good number of seconds now in the crosswind section. Of course, that was really difficult for her to be riding in that section alone, but this bunch behind are incredibly motivated, led by the team of Uno X, that absolutely drilled it coming into that crosswind section.
So both of the Fidanzas have made it in here. We've also got Anastasia Carbonari that's in there, the national champion of Latvia. And now we're getting the attacks. San Michel, Mavic, Ober 93 are the team that are going on the offensive here. Marion Boras keeping the pressure on here for the San Michel team. And Boras, great track rider, is Marion Boras, and riding high on the form from Paris-Roubaix.
Absolutely, because she had one heck of a day out on Saturday at Paris-Roubaix, all day out in the breakaway on such a brutal edition of Paris-Roubaix. So I'm sure that the legs are incredibly fatigued at the moment, but not showing a sign of that at the moment. On the attack again inside the final 30 kilometres.
Chloe Champetier, they're from the Grand Est Komugi La Fabrique team. Marion Boras, though, trying to come across the gap to Eva van Aert for the Jumbo-Visma team. And Marion Boras, you've got to say, after that ride on Saturday in Paris-Roubaix, it's a race that can just give you wings. It can give you so much confidence being up there in a race such as Paris-Roubaix and leading out the sprint as she did. And so this San Michel Aubert team, this is only her third road race of the year as well for Marion Boras. The 25-year-old French rider is known as well as part of that team pursuit team for France. Had a good season though on the road. Took the a stage in the GC in Tour de Charente-Maritime as well last year. Uno X though don't look like they want to let anything go now. But Eva van Aert, you've got to say respect to Eva getting out there. Big long lone breakaway today.
Yeah, I'm sure she would have liked to have some company out there, but yeah, it was a really strong gutsy ride from Eva van Aert. She is going to get company now, but the bunch very close behind.
So just our groups. This is Beatrice Caldera of UAE, and then with her is Jade Lindhout, who fought to get back in there. Marion Boras though comes through over the top of Eva van Aert, Uno X confident in their finish, as you can see clearly, with 28.2 kilometers to go. We will go through the line with 24 kilometers of the Ronde de Mouscron remaining this time. It's still got a bit of riding in her as Eva van Aert. Marion Boras, though, that attack about to be brought back. Looks like Tamara Dronova in that black rain jacket just behind the two Uno X riders. And this sort of finish as well. Tamara Dronova is one of those sprinters as well that she tends to sprint sitting down as well. Really like a real track rider sprint.
Yeah, but this sprint coming in today it's a real drag up towards the finish line, as we saw on the last lap coming round. So for around 600 metres before the finish line, it really starts to drag up at around sort of 2-4% in gradient. So nothing particularly steep, but it really changes the dynamic of a sprint. You know, it's not that typical 60km/h sprint. It's going to be a really real drag up towards the line. You can see there Danique Bram just on the wheel of the UAE ADQ development team on the back of their train. We saw her having a bike change just a few kilometres ago, which was a really unfortunate time because it split in the crosswinds not long after she had that bike change. So really unfortunate timing there for Danique Bram.
Sarah Fiorin, and it looks like Lara Gillespie that's also in there, the Irish rider for the UAE development team. This is Georgie Howe, who's just on the back of this group. Georgie Howe for Jaco Alula. And then not far away, just ahead of her, Fabienne Jarek for that Max Solar Rose team. This is at the back of our chasing group. We can just see our UAE riders on the front. Back to the front, and still Saint-Michel, Mavic Ober 93 driving things at the front. Flora Perkins in the blue there, just grabbing a drink out of the bottle. Tennille Campbell for Jaco Alula is in here. This, given the size of this group, I mean, Uno X have got the advantage in numbers here. Anastasia Carbonari's got a good finish on her, as we see again that the colours of the Saint-Michel Mavic Ober 93 team going on the attack. Victoire Berthaud has made it into this group. We saw her powering across the gap on her own.
That is an impressive ride from Victoire Berthaud. We know what a strong rider she is, but it's so difficult to try and jump from one group to the next in the crosswinds. The wind today isn't as strong as it could be, but you know, still full respect to her for being able to bridge across. You can see in these closing kilometres, though, there are quite a few different twists and turns on the course, and we know how slippery the road is as well. So this is going to be quite a tense finish coming in towards the line. So we're around 2 kilometres from the finish now. So yeah, as we say, need to hold on tight for this finish because let's just hope that all the riders can stay upright on these greasy roads.
Celia Lemuel on the front. Finn Monsieur is the AG Insurance rider that's just moving up in that white and navy blue jersey for that AG Insurance Next G team.
Maya, 2 years ago you finished at the 3rd place, so this is a race you really enjoy?
Yeah, it's a nice race. Actually, I think it's a good to finish like the spring season in Mouscron, and I will finish my spring season here. So I'm quite happy to finish here. And yeah, we have a good team to fight for a good result here. So we are motivated to do it.
How do you feel today? Good legs?
Yeah, I hope so. I did the Roubaix two days ago, so we'll see how the legs is. But I think they are ready, and I'm also ready with a good group around me. So we're gonna do it, yeah.
Good to hear from Maria Martins. There's Flora Perkins wearing 7, Simona Boilard wearing 92, Tennille Campbell in that red, white and black jersey, just closing that one down for Jaco Alula. And Maria Martins is still in this group
Yeah, we can see her. She's sat just around sort of 10th, 12th wheel, just in the back of the group there. You can see the Portuguese national bands round her arms. But yeah, she's the master at saving energy, is Tata Martins. She can ride in the group so well that you can almost not spot her all day, and then she'll just pop up with 200 metres to go like an expert sprinter that she is. So yeah, good to see that Tata Martins is still in there as we're getting another attack from the San Michel Ober 93 team.
They are so motivated. Camilla Fahy, it looks like, from the helicopter shot that's going on the attack here for the San Michel Mavic Ober 93 team. And just being covered, being marshalled all the time by Uno X. It's Amelie Dietrichson just sat second wheel. You got Martina and Ariana Fidanza with Catherine Schweinberger for Ceratizit WNT. Schweinberger's got a fast finish. Nina Bausman now on the right of your picture there in the orange helmets. Just out of the saddle, that second part of the group, not far behind. There's Tamara Dronova in that white and blue jersey of the Israel Premier Tech Roland team. Anastasia Carbonari still there for UAE.
On this drag up towards the finish now, just with around 200 metres to go, so you get a bit of a view as to the gradients that the riders will be sprinting on. But we just saw that other group coming into view in the background. It looked like there was a number of the Human Powered Health team that were caught out in the splits there, so they looked like they were chasing from behind. So if this group don't keep the pressure on, then we will have a number more riders coming back into contention as the riders take the bell.
1 lap to go. Not the world's biggest bell, that one.
You just hope that there's someone on the side saying, "Lasta ronda."
Danny's favourite phrase, of that she spent her whole career having that yelled at her in there. That seems like the sort of bell you ring when you're sick and you're trying to attract your family's attention downstairs. You need a big old bell.
Sorry, Marty, what kind of house do you live in? We don't have a bell in my household.
Doesn't work though, you know.
Doesn't work if you live alone.
It does, exactly. That's what I was going to say. So I agree. Aerial shot here. So Wilma Olausson is your Uno X rider wearing 55, not far away from the front. Phoenix de Koenig. They've got their fast finisher wearing number 5. You can see Maria Martins, Tata Martins, as Danny calls her.
Yeah, Tata is her name.
We've got Britt de Graaf in there as well from the GT Crush team. She is the rider that's in those light green and real dark green colours. You can see her there. She's got a gel in her mouth at the moment. About 6 riders from the front of the group. So the GT Crush team, a team that again always impress us. Danik Hangeveld, of course, coming from that team now with DSM. If you're with us on the TV, you're off for a short break. Come back for the final lap. San Michel Ober 93 really are motivated to try and get clear here. Is this Celia Lemuel going again for that San Michel team? And a program that has been around for many years, that San Michel setup. And last year's Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, definitely a race that really showed the French public and their sponsors what their women's program can do. Acquitted themselves very well in that race, did the San Michel Mavic Ober 93 team. They've got some really aggressive riders as they go again, one after the other here. Relentless attacking from San Michel.
Yeah, they've obviously had the word in the ear, haven't they, that they need to be on the attack, because as soon as one teammate is brought back, the next one is geared up and ready to go. So you could see the other riders in the bunch, they've obviously cottoned on to that, and so almost marking the other San Michel Ober 93 riders, just ready and waiting for them to attack.
Just over that 20 kilometre to go point now, 22.3 kilometres. We are on our final lap here of the Ronde de Mouscron, and they go again further down the group just as they move over It's just one after the other here at the moment, and we're seeing, you can see that the Uno X riders just talking into the radio as well. Sometimes you can only take so many attacks, can't you, before someone else has to sort of take the next one. And you see Amelie Deirdrickson now just rolls through. The experience of Amelie just reacted to that. I think it was Wilma Olausson that was just talking into the radio, had fielded as many attacks as she could field for the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just the team that are attacking that have to really do this as a team. You know, the ones that are marking these attacks, you cannot, as they go again, this is literally one after the other, isn't it? So even for the team, so the team of Uno X, they also need to share the workload. So when they're chasing down each of these attacks, it cannot be the same rider that responds to one attack after the next. You often find that, you know, a particular rider is in a better position to react to an attack that's going up the road, but if you're having to react to 4 or 5 attacks in a row, you soon run out of legs. So you really have to share that workload amongst the squad.
Marion Boras, Julie Leth and Anastasia Carbonari as we just line up. This is one of the tightest corners on this circuit, where it really kind of doubles back on itself.
Yeah, it does. It's quite a treacherous corner, as we see the number of white lines that are really greasy in the wet. So the last time that the riders have experienced that corner, so good to see that they've all got round it.
We'll just welcome back anyone that's joining us on the TV. Unfortunately, just getting pulled out there, I think. So, unfortunately, just getting pulled out there. Nina Bausman now on the front. Julie Leth just, again, managing those attacks for Uno X. And another big day out in Roubaix for Julie Leth. I mean, we know her. She's such a talented track rider. She's been one of those riders, again, that's been sort of so selfless over the years in so many teams, you know, to get that opportunity now to pick a race, find a race like Roubaix that really suits the power, suits that sort of skill set of someone like Julie Leth.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge day out for Julie, wasn't it, in the breakaway of Paris-Roubaix, and one of the riders that was caught by the bunch but managed to hang on for 11th place. So, yeah, really good, just finishing outside the top 10 then, but nevertheless a brilliant ride in Paris-Roubaix, matching her position that she finished in De Panne just a few weeks ago. So it's good to see that she's really finishing up towards the front of the bike races again.
And her and Amelie Deirdrickson they are Madison teammates as well. It's good to see them teaming up on the road again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Julie Leth, she's been said that she is a real motivator within the Uno X squad. You know, often riding as the road captain, and you know, obviously brings an awful lot of experience to the squad. So it's good to see, you know, the road captains can still get the results themselves and reward for everything that she's contributed to the team so far.
One rider that I'm interested in, she's got a rain jacket on, but I think Marie-Morgane Le Dunf is the rider in the red towards the front for Team Arkea, wearing 227. She's got a good finish on her as well, and has been very, very, very noticeable by, again, how stealthy she's been in this group.
Yeah, I mean, it will often be the riders that we haven't spoken about too much that have kept their powder dry in this race. You know, I think she is the only Arkea rider in this group, so she's obviously having to take a few risks of not allowing some of the attacks to go up the road, just relying on other squads to try and bring them back. But as you said, she's got a real fast finish on her and has certainly kept herself sheltered today, to say the least.
So plenty of fast finishes. You see Sarah Tizet, WNT, in those blue and red jerseys. As we said, they've got Ariana and Martina Fidanza in there with Katrin Schweinberger, so they've got multiple options in this race, as Schweinberger, right on schedule, goes on the attack, and straight on her is Marion Boras and Flora Perkins for the Phoenix de Koenig team. So Schweinberger, former Austrian national champion. And it's just attack. It's relentless here in the Ronde de Mouscron. Anastasia Carbonari and Flora Perkins make it 4 at the front. Boras affords herself a glance over the shoulder to see what sort of damage that they are doing, and it is up to the power of human-powered health to try and close this one down with Lily Williams.
This is the first time that we'd actually seen a small group going clear here, and as you said, it was Lily Williams that managed to close the gap there, because that could have been a very dangerous move going up the road. We saw the team of Uno X closing down attack after attack, but they missed this this big group going up the road, so I'm sure that we'll see the colours of the yellow squad coming towards the front of the bunch again to try and set things up for their fast finisher.
So Catherine de Klerk is towards the front for Lotto Destiny. Tenia Campbell a little bit further back, just moving up now towards the wheel of Marie Morgaledunf. Flora Perkins still on the front in the blue for the Phoenix de Koenig team. And human-powered health. Just trying to pick out who would you say now out of this group for human-powered health? Nina Bausman in a slight uphill sprint, do you think?
She has got a very nifty kick on her, and particularly when the gradient is going up slightly, then she could be a really good bet for human-powered health.
As they go again. Marion Boras is just hell-bent today on trying to take a solo win. Confidence level sky high for Marion Boras of the San Michel Mavic Aubert 93 team. And you can see Wilma Olausson of Sweden is trying to close it down for Uno X. Tennille Campbell still in there. Just floating around now, getting herself up into the right sort of position. Could it be a day for the national champion of Trinidad and Tobago? Comes from the Caribbean, loves the rough and tumble and the gritty conditions of Belgium.
Doesn't really match up, does it, if you come from the Caribbean? Welcome to Belgium.
She does, though. She just seems the wet, windy conditions. Remember when you read the sort of stories of when she first arrived in Switzerland in the middle of winter to the World Cycling Centre from Trinidad and Tobago, and yeah, I think that was the baptism of fire, and she's kind of acclimatized now. Nina Bausman on the front. Julie Leth manages that for Uno X. As you see, Britt de Grave from that GT Crush team. It's just going to be one after the other here for San Michel Aubert 93. So impressive in their attacking, gutsy performance from this team today. And they've just been clearly told by the team manager to just go. Celia Lemuel is the rider who swings off, looks around, tries to get Julie Leth through and working. So plenty of teams that feel they've got the advantage in the sprint. For San Michel Aubert 93, Simona Boyler's got a handy kick on her, but maybe if you would say in an out-and-out sprint against a Miriam Martins or someone like that. There's some really interesting riders in this group that are due a win as well. Real sort of the pros that we've seen over the last few years that are up there, and it's a great opportunity to take a win in this one today.
There are, but you know, today has been a really brutal day out, and you can see just from the size of the group that it's been a tough day out.
Here's attack. Nina Bausman goes again for human-powered health, so that answers our question. She's not going to be a protected rider in a sprint for human-powered health. De Grave and Perkins defending that. That's Ariana Fidanza wearing 83. And her sister, Martina Fidanza, is wearing 84, 15.4 kilometers to go. If you're just tuning in today, welcome aboard. It is a wet, windy day in Belgium and the Ronde de Mouscron, 120 kilometers, 5 laps of this 24-kilometer circuit. Eva van Aert was our lone leader and brought back after the relentless attacks of the likes of Marion Borras and the Saint-Michel Aubert 93 team. And it has been like this ever since. And an attack by Simona Boilard over the top by Uno X split this group in two. And we have got quite a select group now heading in towards the finish. So we just exit the through the hedges here. They've got a bit of cover from one side along this part of the course by the sports park. The Grave for GT Crush. Could she take a win for them? Maria Martins of the Phoenix de Koenig team started off the year, won her first race of the year, the European scratch race. It was one of the, I was there in Grenchen. It was such a Tata Martins ride. Just crept off the front while everyone else was just looking around at each other. They just gave her too much rope and just capitalised it. You knew as soon as she went, there was no way they were going to bring her back.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal ride from Tata Martins back in the European Championships on the track, taking that first elite title after securing a few titles in the under-23 category. Yeah, it was brilliant to see her taking that win and the celebrations afterwards as well. She's a very proud Portuguese rider, and so it was really great to see those celebrations. But it was really good to see her stepping up into the Phoenix de Koenig World Tour team this year. So really looking forward to seeing how she gets on the road, with obviously the big goals of the Paris Olympics coming up next year as well. So she'll be concentrating on the track for the Paris Olympics, but in the meantime we get to see her sprinting it out on the road.
Uno X are working on the front for their team. You're watching out for the rider that's a little bit further down the group. You can just see her now in the white jersey with the blue cross of Finland. National champion Annina Artosalo. You can see her not far away, and she's got her team leader, you would say, in Amelie Deirdrickson right in front of her. This is the point as well for someone like Annina Artosalo, where you learn from Amelie. You get piloted through this group. The team have done the work. This is a day as well, if you've got that fast finish, if they feel that you're going to be their designated sprinter in years to come, it's about dealing with that pressure and just watching and learning from the Julie Lett and Amelie Deirdricksons in this group. You couldn't ask for two better teammates to learn from.
No, absolutely not. And obviously the pressure is on to deliver the result when you've got such great champions that are riding for you. But, you know, as we mentioned, with this category of race, it provides such a good opportunity for a number of riders to really step up and take a win, or even just, you know, score a good result for themselves. And these are the days as a bike rider that you can really learn the most, you know, coming together as a squad. We've seen Uno X riding really well together, probably their best performance as a team this year. So it's really great to see that the whole squad are stepping up, and with 12.7 kilometres to go, it's looking good for the team of Uno X.
DD Group Isarex No Aqua still have one rider in there as well, Belgian rider, and Sophie Doms is also in the back of that, just down the back of that group, wearing number 242. And a lot of these riders that we are seeing for the first time, just 20 years old is the Belgian rider. It's not far away from it's just kind of managing the group. There's Atosalo, there she is, 242 for that DD Group Isarex team, so a young Belgian rider there. Tenniel Campbell moving up for Jaco Alula. And then you've got Aline van Rooyen wearing 186, 12.4 kilometres to go. Tamara Dronova just in front, about 3 riders from the back of the group. What do we say? Has got such a seated sprint, has Tamara Dronova. Wilma Olausson, though, from Sweden, and Uno X just doing the work on the front to try and prevent Anyone else getting clear? Martina Fidanza, Ariana Fidanza are there. And then you can just see the Phoenix de Koenig team. There's Christine Schweinberger. And there's Marie-Morgane Ledumf that we were talking about from Team Arkea. And they've had a really, really good month or so, Team Arkea. They went down, they dominated the Vuelta Extremadura down in Spain as well. So again, another team that are kind of riding that wave of confidence like that San Michel Mavic Ober 93 team. We'll see how she can go in this sprint today. This is your chasing group, so we're getting an aerial shot here of the chasing group, the helicopter just following it. They're not a million miles. They've got a bit of work to do. If they can get into the convoy, they might just run out of kilometres, though, I think, that chasing group.
Yeah, I think it probably looks a little bit closer than it does. I think it would take a significant lulling in the pace of this front group for the group behind to come back into contention, and I don't think that's going to happen with 11.3 kilometres to go. We are just coming into that section of the course that we saw some attacks firing on the last lap, so the road will start to drag up as they exit the town of Dotinez, and the road becomes very exposed at the top there. We saw last lap that the team of Uno X really tried to split it in the crosswind, so the riders will have that fresh in their mind and will be really alert for the attacks to come.
De Graaf now goes, Britt de Graaf from the GT Crush team, and this is for someone like Britt de Graaf. We're massive fans of Danique Hankefeld, who's now with DSM, but this team always whenever they get an opportunity and we see them on our screens, they're always such an aggressive team. They're a development team, and they've got a great they've got a great sort of way of finding new riders coming through.
Yeah, they certainly have, and they get a really good program as well. So some of these UCI races that we see them racing frequently in Belgium and the Netherlands, so always taking the opportunity whenever they can to really get stuck into the racing.
So thanks, Femke de Vries, my apologies, getting our my GT Crush riders slightly confused. But a good attack, but it's brought back by the San Michel Ober 93 team. So the pressure goes out. Could be a good opportunity now to take a flyer. You can see riders just moving up as everyone just moves across. There was that point there, was it that you could have potentially just taken a bit of flyer over the top. Fidanza, Ariana Fidanza on the front, just looking around. Seems like she'll be controlling. So you can see her sister just on the left of your picture there, just starting to move up. So plenty of communication going on around the front of this group. There's Anina Attasalo, Catherine de Klerk, Eva Van Acht still in there on your right in the yellow of Jumbo-Visma. And a lot of riders, your solo riders, Marie-Morgane Ledumf in this, Tenniel Campbell, that are just going to have to try and surf off Sarah Tizet and Uno X in this finish.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really reduced bunch that we've got now, so only the strongest riders seem to have survived this race so far. It's been absolutely appalling conditions for the riders today, but you get a really nice shot of the little drag. This is where we saw the attack starting to fly on the last lap round, so in around 700 metres time they will take a left turn onto that crosswind section again. So all the riders, you can see, almost feel the tension in the bunch now. Riders trying to position themselves well for that left-hand turn. We saw last time through that it was the team of Uno X that split it in the crosswind. We can see the blue and red colours of Sarah Tizet WNT coming to the front with Ariana Fidanza on the front. Her sister Martina Fidanza sat in third wheel there. And there's another attack from the San Michel Ober 93 team.
Looks like the style of Simona Boylard from the helicopter. Now going clear for San Michel Mavic Ober 93. Marit Rijmakers, the rider, just trying to get on terms. You can see just a little split under the pressure here of the rider from San Michel Ober 93. So for Simona Boylard, Marit Rijmakers, Ariana Fidanza, Amelie Deirdrickson. Then you've got Flora Perkins and Celia van Zootem is the other rider there for the Phoenix de Koning team. Their teammate Maria Martins. Still a couple of riders behind them. But this looks like the pattern that we're going to have now on the run in towards the finish. We are just 8 kilometers to go here in the Ronde de Mouscron here on Easter Monday. And real tough, gnarly conditions for the riders that they've had to deal with today. And you still, Eline van Rooyen on the back here for the AG Insurance Next G U23 team. As one after the other, the Saint-Michel riders just fire themselves off the front as we're about to hit the crosswind section. And this is where Simona Boilard did the damage a lap ago.
That's right, it was Simone Boilard that really kicked things off one lap ago and really started to split the bunch almost. And you can see that we have got a small split in the bunch again. So the riders now entering into this slight crosswind section.
As the riders just run onto the back there, Tenille Campbell makes contact. You can see the pace, the pressure goes right out as Marion Boras again goes straight over the top here for Saint-Michel. And right on the wheel, Celia Lemuel. What a day this team have had. Can they come away with a prize out of this one? There's Atosalo, Campbell, Ledeuve. Will it be Fidanza? Can the young Finnish rider from Uno X repay the tireless work that the team have done for her today to try and deliver her to a pro victory tomorrow? Dronova, you can see in the centre there with that black jacket, the purple helmet. For the Israel Premier Tech team. One by one, the Uno X riders try to just move back up towards the front. So a good group of riders still in here. So the Israel Premier Tech, it might be Alice Sharp that's in there actually for Israel Premier Tech. I might correct myself as well in a moment. I will stand corrected if I am. So we'll just swing round from the helicopter shot here. Still that Saint-Michel Aubert 93 team. They're doing a great job defending on the front here. Leading out, 6.7 kilometers to go. You can see the riders still with those big rain jackets on, huddled up against the elements today. So number 17, Tamara Dronova. I think it is Tamara Dronova. We'll go with that one.
It's not making our life too easy either, is it? With all of the big rain jackets on, it's been an absolutely grim day for the riders out there, and I'm sure they'll be very happy to get this race done and dusted and get a nice warm shower, because it's been absolutely brutal out on the roads of Belgium today. It's pretty grimy out there, isn't it? Just the lead out. Now can AG Insurance Next G U23 team, can they bring this one home? You can now see that they're moving themselves into position. Finn Mathieu is wearing 85. Just that second wheel there. The two Cofidis riders just a little bit further down there. That's Valentin Fortin. Salo still with Amelie Deirdrickson not far away from her. Wilma Olausson doing the big turn on the front, the Swede. Real strong worker for the team. And everyone just gets kicked across a little bit there. You can see
how blustery it is, the conditions. Sarah Tizet, WNT, move up into position. Tennille Campbell for Jake Alula. Can the Trinidad and Tobago national champion just spring a win here in this one? There's a lot of pressure on the shoulders, though, of the young Finnish rider. Anina Atasalo, the team have done a great job for her today to try and deliver her to the win. So just 20 years old as well. 5.4 kilometers to go. They've seen this running multiple times now. You've got that little, as we come in towards the finish, that little narrowing as we come under the bridge, and then that run up towards the finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really narrow bridge that they pass underneath, so almost a little tunnel that they come through with just over 2 kilometres to go. But this is the point in the course where we're entering into almost an industrial estate that is really, really quite tricky in some of the corners. We've seen how wet it is on the roads, and they are really quite greasy, so a number of twists and turns in this final 5 kilometres.
So Uno X in the red and yellow colours, trying to deliver their 19-year-old Finnish rider to a second win of the year. Won the GP Bertesco in a breakaway reduced group sprint. Wilma Olausson here on the front. What an absolute monster turn, monster of a ride she's put in today.
Yeah, she's been incredible on the front of the bunch, isn't she? Such a strong rider. You just keep questioning how long can she keep going, but yeah, really strong performance from her today. Just seeing on the left-hand side of the screen, that looks like Tremana Dronova for the Israel Premier Tech team. She isn't wearing a rain jacket, so I believe that's also Alice Sharp for the Israel Premier Tech team in there as well. So 2 riders.
Good to see them both in there. I was right then.
Yeah.
They're both there. Dronova just pops up there wearing 17. Her teammate wearing the black jacket, Alice Sharp from Ireland, is in there as well. And they do look fairly similar, actually. I'll take that.
They do. So just riding together, just near the back of the bunch now. But yeah, it was really good to see Alice Sharp stepping up into the World Tour team in Schelde Price just last week. She took 19th place there, was the best finisher for the Israel Premier Tech Roland team. So really good to see that she's getting another run out coming from the development team.
So 2 options. There's Lily Williams. Marit Ryan-Mackers is there. There's the Phoenix de Koenig team. They're trying to lead this one out for their sprinter, Tata Martins, the former national champion of Portugal. There's Alice Sharp coming up in that black jacket with Tamara Dronova right on the wheel. So the Israel Premier Tech riders, they've got 2 in here. Will it be a day for Next G? 4.3k to go as Tennille Campbell launches one down the left-hand side of the road. Tennille Campbell now goes for Jake Alula. So the national champion of Trinidad and Tobago decides that she's not going to leave it to the sprint, just using this small rise to try and go clear. Perkins and Dronova straight with her. Will anyone counter, go straight over the top? This could be a good point to go now, Danny, with 4k to go. Yeah, sometimes it's that second or third attack that can stick. Yeah,
just what I was going to say. It's often not the first attack that sticks, but, you know, second, third time that you do get lucky, and as the bunch is all strung out in one line, it becomes much more difficult to respond to the attacks.
Marit Ryan-Mackers of Human Powered Health's got a just pointed to the back wheel there. Got a rear wheel puncture.
This is such an unfortunate time to get a puncture as well. Inside 4 kilometres to go, it's going to be very difficult to try and get back to the bunch, let alone play an active part in this race.
We'll see, is it completely flat? It's one of those situations, not the ideal, is it, on a city street circuit to have a softening back tyre. Femke de Vries just moving up again for that GT Crush team. Anastasia Carbonari for that UAE development team. It's got a good finish on her as well. The Uno X, Julie Leth, and Wilma allows just the body language now of the Swedish rider on the front is just emptying everything that she's got in service of the team today. So the Uno X team, unfortunate end for Marit Rijmakers here, just looking for her team car to get a wheel change. At this point as well, it's just kind of roll into the finish as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that will be day done. Unfortunately, we're just outside 3 kilometres to go, and the pace is really on Uno X on the front, really drilling it now.
So Uno X just trying to lead this sprint out. They've got 3 strong riders in front of Annina Atosalo, as you said, the 19-year-old Finnish national champion. As Marit Rijmakers just not wanting neutral service. Wait for the team car of her team, Human Powered Health. But we're really now running in towards the finish. The pace definitely up, and Uno X have done a phenomenal ride today to try and keep this one under control, to bring it down to a sprint for the national champion of Finland.
You can see just behind the team of Uno X, we've got the blue and red colours of Ceratizit WNT with the Ferranza sisters just lining up behind that lead out of Uno X, and here come the Phoenix de Koenig team on the left hand side of our screens. Here is that narrow bridge that we were talking about, just negotiating this small roundabout, but with the size of this bunch it's not too much of an issue, this narrowing, but if you come through here in a big bunch it certainly causes a major pinch point.
Victor Alberto in the red and white of Cofidis. Flora Perkins starting to lead out the sprint here for the Phoenix de Koenig team. And their sprinter, as Uno X just collect themselves again. Julie Leth and Amelie Deirdrickson in front of Atosalo. Simona Boylard in those yellow and orange colours. Marion Boras just moving up on your right there. Tennille Campbell just got washed back a little bit. Is she going to go again here for J.K. Lula? Comes through to the front, just on this little rise, just trying to use this one to try and go clear here. Lemuel trying to get on terms with her, but Tennille Campbell, national road and time trial champion of Trinidad and Tobago, just opens up a small gap, but it's San Michel Aubert 93 that close it down yet again.
Yeah, every time there's just a narrowing in the pace, a slight lull in the action. Tennille Campbell comes to the front, really tries to light it up, but it looks like she's on her last legs for today as we take this sharp left-hand turn.
Tennille Campbell just blows out her cheeks on the front as she swings off. But out of that corner, Femke de Vries now goes for the GT Crush team. So the aerial shot here of Femke de Vries as she tries to get clear, and Uno X again just drag it back under control as the GT Crush team. They would love a victory in a race such as this against such good company as well, that it's Julie Leth that's just closing it down yet again with Amelie Deirdrickson right on the wheel. The Fidanzas are poised and ready. Ceratizit WNT. You've got Katrin Schweinberger, Ariana Fidanza, then Martina Fidanza. She's third in line in the blue and red colours. She's going to get the lead out from her sister. So it's 3 against 3 here for Uno X against that Ceratizit WNT team. The big question at the moment, where is Eline van Rooyen wearing 186 for that AG Insurance Next G team? Here come Phoenix de Koenig in the blue as well. They've got plenty of riders still left in service of Maria Martins.
So the road now inside the final 600 metres, really starting to drag up as we see the teams arranging themselves in colour order. Uno X in the centre. We've got Ceratizit WNT to the left of them on our screens as we see Ariana Fidanza really digging in, trying to get up to the team of Uno X.
Here comes Victor Alberto with Valentine Fortin on the wheel for Cofidis, but it's Amelie Deirdrickson now that starts the leader. Ariana Fidanza poised and ready with Martina right on the wheel. Where is Maria Martins? It's still Amelie Deirdrick's on the front as Ariana Fidanza now goes. Anina Artusalo will have to react. Now Martina Fidanza comes off the wheel. Anina Artusalo is there, but it's Martina Fidanza now that kicks for Sarah Tizet. WNT, perfect work from her sister. The leader out is Martina Fidanza. Takes the Ronde de Mouscron ahead of Anina Artusalo and Valentine Fortown. Perfectly timed lead out there. Schweinberger, Fidanza, and Martina Fidanza finishes it off.
Wow, that was an incredible sprint, wasn't it? And we said that this drag up towards the finish line just really changes the dynamics of the sprint itself. We saw some fantastic teamwork from the team of Uno X today, but they just could not live with the pace of the Fidanza sisters, as you can see them there just embracing each other. What fantastic teamwork these sisters have.
Special moment as well, isn't it? It's great to be able to share it with your sister. They led that one out perfectly. What a great combo. That's the first time that we've been able to really see the combo on the road work like that. And Katrin Schweinberger as well started the lead out off. And they're so similar in stature, aren't they, as riders? But it was great to see that. And great for Sarah Tizet WNT to get a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Ariana, held on for, what was it, 4th or 5th position as well. So just shows that she's got some great sprinting legs on her as well. But yeah, with Schweinberger there, it was a really great performance from the Sarah Tizet WNT squad.
It was indeed, and it was just numbers and lead outs like that. It's a game of patience.
It certainly is, but you know, you really have to have the legs when it comes to a real drag up towards the finish line, because as we said before, you know, you have to say full credit to the team of Uno X. They did a brilliant job all day of controlling the race, and you would say a really great lead out coming in towards the finish. But for the team of Sarah Tizet WNT, they were just able to just sit back just that little bit, kind of profit off of the work of Uno X, and really launch their fast finishers up towards the line. So yeah, it was perfectly timed, as you say.
So Martina Fidanza, the 23-year-old Italian, takes the win. And another rider that crosses over from the track. Started the season down in those European Championships, went to Jakarta in Indonesia for the World Cup, for the Track Nations Cup over there. Took a bronze medal in the Madison. And like that with Silvia Zanardi. And we've got another exciting sprinter. Just take us through this sprint, Danny.
Yeah, so here we are with around 500 metres to go. You can see the team of Uno X on the left-hand side. Amelie Deirdrickson just launching the sprint up. And you can see the team of Sarah Tizet WNT coming up with Ariana Fidanza leading out her sister Martina Fidanza. You can see the team of Cofidis in the red on the right-hand side of our screens, just about to launch this sprint. And you can see now, here goes Ariana Fidanza with Martina Fidanza on her wheel. The Finnish champion really trying to react to this, but this is where Martina Fidanza really opens up the burners, and there was absolutely no living with her pace here. She was bike lengths away.
And I think from that helicopter shot, it was great to see it in just the way. Again, she just found her way through that sprint, just really nice sharp elbows, as we would say.
Yeah, you do have to sharpen your elbows a little bit, get them out, and yeah, just really negotiate your way through the bunch to launch a sprint.
And you could see that track rider sort of fluid way that you in a lead out as well, the way she just found her way through those gaps.
Yeah, absolutely no fear, is there, when it comes to the track riders.
So Rebecca Corner just walking it home. Unfortunately, can't see what's wrong. So a couple riders there just walking across the line. What a day here in the Ronde de Mouscron, but Martina Fidanza takes the victory. interesting race, I would say, today. It was definitely coming into it, looking at the course. You're just never quite sure what to expect when you add in the real, grimy conditions that we had. It was an interesting one.
Yeah, I think the wind obviously played a part today, and so if the wind hadn't been blowing, then it would have been a very different issue. But yeah, it was a really great edition of Ronde van Mouscron.
And riders are just getting themselves warmed up and down to the podium.
That might take a week.
It is. It's one of those days, though, isn't it? I mean, these are the sort of days that it must just take you ages to warm up afterwards.
Sometimes it can literally take hours to feel properly warm again, and on those really cold days it can take a long time to recover as well. So you have to almost take that into account for the training that you have coming up. But I don't think it's too cold for them today. It was just a bit miserable out there, really, wasn't it? But of course we have some riders that relish riding in such conditions, and if you can kind of set your mindset to a place whereby you like riding in the rain and the wind, or at least you can tell yourself that you like it, then it's an advantage, because there are a lot of people that don't like it.
Let's have a look back at today's race. It wasn't quite so wet and miserable when they rolled out. Georgie Howe was on the attack a fair bit. This was Eva van Acht's move, though, for the Jumbo-Visma team. And Van Acht would spend a considerable amount of time off the fronts, managing to get clear. And the advantage, it was a good move by the Jumbo-Visma rider. Unfortunately, had a few tumbles today. That was Kaya Schmidt. Almost just rolled and landed back on her feet again there, Kaya Schmidt, didn't she, that one? Interesting move. And you can see now the contrast. If you weren't with us right at the top of the broadcast, you can just see how grisly the conditions got as the afternoon went on.
Yeah, it was absolutely miserable out there, wasn't it? And it proved quite challenging, as we can see here, a replay of another crash here with Pikalik, one of the favourites from the Human Powered Health team, and you can see that she's just getting that concussion check through there, so taken care of by the medical team. But that was a big hit for the Human Powered Health team. Eva van Acht, meanwhile, was still out alone for a good number of kilometres, the Dutch rider.
And you've got to say, one of the teams of the day, Saint-Michel, Mavic, Aubin 93. Simona Boylard came through to the front just before we went into that crosswind section, and she was really, a big part of breaking that group down. Marion Boras, if you were with us for Paris-Roubaix on Saturday, had a big ride there, and clearly, I mean, to come out 2 days after Paris-Roubaix and be riding the way a lot of these, the riders that rode Paris-Roubaix rode today, Amelie Diedrichs and Julie Left among them. I mean, it's impressive stuff.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think this shows really nicely the contrasting ways that a number of the teams were riding today. When you look at Uno X, just really trying to keep it together for the sprint, when we have Saint-Michel, Mavic, Aubin 93 just constantly on the attack. So a real vast changing in tactics amongst the squads.
Wilma allows an MVP, I think, today for Uno X.
She was incredible, wasn't she?
And then this lead out, and Martina Fidanza, she's been a world champion in the scratch on the track as well. And it really, these sort of races are great when we get to see Fidanza, Atosalo, and those sort of riders getting that chance and getting the team to work for them. But there was daylight in that sprint.
Yeah, it was really phenomenal. She showed there. The rest of the peloton, a hot pair of heels.
Happy days for Sarah Tizet, WNT, and deservedly so. Started the day with just 5 riders, so Ariana, Martina Fidanza and Catherine Schweinberger that you saw there. Lana Eberle and Franziska Brauscher was the team that started. So the 3rd edition. Martina Fidanza adds her name to Chiara Consoni and Talita de Jong. So the Ronde de Mouscron. And it's, when you look at today's race and today's circuit, 5 laps of 24 kilometers, it's a sort of that sort of big Khmer circuit, but there's a lot to be said for a race like this with multiple laps like that.
Yeah, I think it was quite a good lap actually, where we had a bit of everything in terms of the small exposed roads that really lend themselves to the echelon action. You know, some parts of it we did have some crosswind and we saw it being split in those sections, and some real technical parts coming through the town as well.
And they did have a section of cobbles in it that they took out from last year.
Yeah, we were looking forward to seeing the cobbles, weren't we? A little bit disappointed that they came out. But they replaced it with the narrow roads instead, so certainly added to the racing.
So this Wednesday, we have the women's race as well, of course. Stay with us for the podium. And taking her first victory of the season. Had a good year last year on the road as well. Did Martina Fidanza. Lots of wins down in Italy. Giro Toscana and Giro della Marte in Rosa among them. We'll have a look back at the final kilometre while we're waiting for the podium. And Victoire Berthaud was trying to lead out for Valentin Fortin in the red and white. That was Schweinberger's final turn here. And now you see here with Julie Leff handing over to Amelie Deirdrickson, swings off the front. And it really was, from this point, a race of 2 teams. Berthaud tried to bring Fortin through. And you just see as well, watch the way Martina Fidanza just makes sure she doesn't get caught, doesn't get boxed at all. Just made herself some room there, just manoeuvred it out. Just had that much sense that the Cofidis riders were coming and just moved out so that off the wheel of her sister, and then came back in for that final bit of the lead out. And it's almost, sometimes you can see a sprinter just processing information in slow-mo sometimes.
Yeah, it's almost having that information in your periphery, but also just being able to sense where the other riders are and having that kind of almost eyes in the back of your head sort of scenario where you can just feel what's going to happen.
Your top 10 looks like this today. So Martina Fidanza of Italy and Sarah Tizet Dominici takes the win ahead of Anina Atosala. Valentin Fortin rounds out your podium. Ariana Fidanza hangs on for 4th. Maria Martins, Lily Williams, Katrin de Klerk, Simona Boylard, Cecilia van Zoutema, Tamara Dronova, your top 10. So a great podium. So Italy, Finland and France. If you're with us on the TV, you are leaving us there. Make sure you join us on Wednesday for Brabant Appeal. From Martin McDonald, Danny Christmas. Bye for now. And of course, if you're with us on our digital platforms, we are staying for your podiums on digital. So just we're getting another little replay of our run-in while the riders just get themselves warmed up and ready for the podium. And deservedly so. Good lead out as well. Valentin Fortin and Victoire Berthaud, just the Cofidis riders here as well. There was good lead out for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, Berthaud is a super strong rider to be leading out, but just kind of dropping her off on the wheel of Martina Fidanza.
But Martina Fidanza, first road win of the year. And I think it's great, again, we're getting another name and another sprinter up there in terms of different team, another fast finishing Italian. So in third spots, Valentin Fortin of Team Cofidis. It's a good finish for Valentin Fortin. Good to see Cofidis up there and getting a podium. That's important for them. Second for Anina Atosalo of Team Uno X.
Vanish on that jersey, actually.
Definitely. I don't think that's going to be white again, that Finnish championship. She needs another jacket on. I'm worried she's going to get cold here. And your winner from Ceratizit WNT, Martina Fidanza, after a great lead out from Katrin Schreiberger and her sister Ariana. That will be a huge boost of confidence for the young Italian.
Sur la plus haute marche du podium, l'Italie avec l'équipe Ceratizit. À la deuxième place, la Finlande avec la championne nationale. Et à la
and there you have it. There's your confirmation of your podium. So Italy, Finland and France, your podium. So Martina Fidanza, Anina Atosalo and Valentin Fortin. Oh, nice save, Anina. Caught that one well, didn't she?
Skills.
I was literally about to say she's juggling a lot there. Caught the bottle of bubbly before it dropped.
Voilà, donc la championne de Finlande à la deuxième place et la championne italienne. Allez pour nos trois championnes. Tout le monde les mains en l'air, on les applaudit très très fort. Bravo donc à ces championnes d'exception.
And a big week ahead. Brabant Appeal on Wednesday, Amstel Gold next weekend. We're going to look forward to those.
Absolutely, cannot wait for the Ardennes week to kick off. Bit of a warm-up on Wednesday and then really get into the hills.
And then we go from Amstel Gold to Flèche-Wallonne on the 19th and Liège-Bastogne-Liège on the 23rd. Today's golden chicken belongs to Martina Fidanza.
I bet she hasn't got another trophy that looks like that.
Voilà, merci à Pierre Alain, les plaisirs sucrés salés. C'est à Mouscron, fidèle partenaire de l'épreuve.
A great day out. Thank you for your company today in the Ronde de Mouscron. Have a great day. We'll see you soon from Marty McDonald and Danny Christmas. Bye for now.